gender-affirming care for adults is now basically banned in Missouri. The state's Attorney General Bailey announced an emergency regulation that erects enormous barriers to care for trans people of all ages. So no, it's not just the kids anymore; it's everybody.
Okay, and I read the article,
Mm-hmm.
and it basically says you have to have a doctor's recommendation. You have to have like 3 years of gender dysphoria. You have to have a full psychiatric assessment, and you
Mm-hmm.
have to have a bunch of sessions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, doesn't make it impossible to get transition care. So the title of the article is
This one
alarming.
does. Well, you haven't gone down far enough. People seeking such care will have to be screened for autism and other pre-existing issues such as anxiety and depression, and pre-existing conditions must have been treated and resolved. You have to resolve their autism first.
Okay.
That doesn't happen.
There are
You
people who are
can't.
autistic that believe that they're transgender, but they're actually not. And so I did end up looking into this a little bit after the last time we talked about this.
Uh-huh.
Um, a lot of autistic people will generally feel uncomfortable in their with their identity regardless, because they are autistic.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean that they are transgender, but some of them will move towards being transgender and then find that it's not right for them.
The
So
Attorney General of Missouri doesn't know any of these things. He is the wrong person to be making this decision.
that's fine. If
It
I
should
mean,
be
if you
a
disagree
doctor
with,
thing.
if you disagree with who is making this decision, that's fine. I get it, but I will say that at the very least, there are autistic people that um, could end up strongly regretting transitioning uh, when they do,
I
or after they
don't
do.
doubt that such a thing exists, but that is a decision that the person needs to make with their doctor. Why is this conservative lawmaker getting in between patients and their doctors? They hate that. Conservatives have been screaming at me for years about Obamacare getting in between patients and their doctors, but they're
I get it.
more than
Hey,
happy. They're more
I
than
told
happy to
you.
do it here.
I
Yeah.
already told you. I think that anybody should be able to get whatever hormones and treatments and whatnot that they want after they're an
Yes, you
adult.
have. And I think that that is a good stance for you to have. If a person goes to the doctor and you are agreeing with it here, that if they want to transition and the doctor thinks that it's a good plan and they come together, then they should. And you have said that in the past, and I
Yeah, do whatever you
appreciate that.
want. Like,
That's freedom. I think you and I are on the side of freedom. You are suggesting a freedom-based solution, and the Attorney General of Missouri is doing an anti-freedom here.
that is true. I actually don't think that the laws are um, freedom enough. I think that, like I've said before, yes, we should allow people if they want to do steroids,
Mm-hmm.
um, which is a large part of what you would call gender affirming care, right? If
Right. I mean,
a girl wants to
testosterone is a thing
transition
that.
into a boy,
Mhm.
you would give them testosterone. That's a steroid, right? Um,
There are. Uh, they are similar. Yes.
Testosterone it's a hormone, but it is legally defined as a steroid.
Okay.
All of those should just be legal.
Yeah. If a
Um,
person wants to take HGH, human growth hormone, I want to say some famous streamers take it. Um, they would
Probably.
take. Well, he talks about it. I'm not going to mention it who, but because we're not a drama channel, remember?
Right,
Uh,
right, right, right.
but a human person who is not a part of an organized sport or anything like that takes this, does exercises, wants to be healthy. I accept it. That's fine. If I wanted to take testosterone as a 40-year-old man, I could get it online without even seeing a doctor, and that is
You could, but it would be illegal.
no. I go to the doctor and I get uh,
You just said without seeing a doctor.
yeah, you don't have to see them. You call them and you talk to them online, and then they prescribe it to you, and then they sell it to you, and then
Oh,
you buy it. I mean, without seeing a doctor. I meant in person, going there to see my doctor. I can get an online doctor, an online in quotation marks, online doctor to prescribe me testosterone in no time at all. There's
okay.
ads
I need
for
to do
it.
that.
There's ads for it all over podcasts. If you ever listen to a podcast, you're going to get a commercial for um, your low T levels, and you can get prescriptions for this and that, and you don't even have to see a doctor. Just talk to someone online, and you literally do. You call them, you tell them, hey, I have these problems. If not, they'll ask you if you have those problems. Then you just say yes, and then they are like, okay, well, you should have Testosterone, and then they write you the prescription for it, and then you buy it from the company who's selling testosterone. And I'm allowed to do that for gender affirming care. If I take a bunch of testosterone, I'm
Yeah,
affirming my gender, right?
sure.
Okay.
I'm down for it.
Okay, I'm on
Take
board for
take
such a thing.
whatever you want.
Okay, I agree. Take whatever you want. You and I are on the freedom side. The Attorney General, cough cough, Republican of Missouri is not.
So I would encourage you
Hmm.
in this scenario to sort of try to see where they're coming from, right? Um, I don't agree with the end result, uh, but I think that transgenderism is relatively recent. We we don't have a lot of long-term data on this stuff. Um, we will in like maybe 20 years. Uh, I will say that while it is still relatively new and we have a lack of long-term data on it,
Hmm.
I think there is enough questionability to where this is their way of protecting people.
Hmm.
Um, the things that you do in transitioning, some of them are non-reversible. They're
Right.
permanent. They are forever. And if it turns out that you are not actually gender dysphoric and this was not the right treatment for you, there is no going back. Is this too far? Maybe. But I am not going to assign um, malice to this kind of a law when our data is so sparse.
Okay. Oh, I am. Numerous medical governing bodies, including the American Medical Association, the American Psychological Association, the American Psychiatric Association, and the American Academy of Pediatrics have endorsed gender affirming care for minors as medically necessary. The
Source
doctors have
required.
said,
No link.
the
And
doctors
it's
have said,
Vice. First of all, it's fucking Vice, dude. If I linked you to Daily Mail, you would immediately call it out, right?
if they said something wrong. Do you want me to look up American Medical Association and gender affirming care?
I just think that at the very least, if you're gonna make this statement in your news article,
Hmm.
then source it, please.
Okay.
Like,
I will
because
avoid
I
the
can't
rest of this.
validate what Vice is claiming here without going to the AMA and searching through their recommendations to find whatever it is they have to say about gender affirming care for minors,
Okay.
right? And maybe that's all correct. It could be.
Hmm.
Or maybe there are some substantial caveats. Why is it not sourced?
At this moment, because
I'll tell you what it looks like to me
uh huh.
is it looks like this person, whoever wrote this, uh, and something.
Zolodezowski.
Yeah, not gonna try to pronounce that one. Just thought of as many associations as she could, um, and just listed them all and said they all say that this is right.
Okay.
I don't think that she actually looked into the actual recommendations by any of these associations.
Okay. It seems to me like she's summarizing. But that's what news is it not? I mean, that's
It
what
is, but it's
you
assumed that you
summarize.
have done the work beforehand. And in
Okay.
this case, I think Vice is a rag.
Okay.
So I don't think she's done the work. I think she listed a bunch of associations
Mm-hmm.
and and just assumed that they all were on her side, or that there weren't major caveats. And if there are, then I would find them.
Okay. I might Google that later. Not today, but sometime during the week. AMA, gender affirming care for minors as medically necessary. And if they do say it's necessary, we'll go down both sides. If they don't say that, which is what you're suggesting, or saying is a possibility, if they don't say that it's medically necessary, then Vice is a rag, and she's just making things up, which is bad. If she's correct, if she's saying that the AMA does suggest that it is medically necessary, this Attorney General is literally getting in between medical professionals and their patients.
Okay.
And why is he doing that? Because he thinks it's harmful? I think he just doesn't like them. I think he thinks they're icky and they're gross and they're weird and he doesn't like them and he doesn't want them in his state.
I mean, you can think that.
I'm attributing bigotry to it
Uh,
for sure. That's what I'm
I
doing. I'm not being sneaky about it. I'm saying that I think this guy's a bigot and he's doing it for those reasons.
I think it's generally an effort to protect people.
Okay.
It may be misguided, but in general, I definitely don't think we have enough information on this subject yet to comprehensively, you know, recommend things at this point. In this case, like I said, maybe it's a little too far.
Hmm.
It might be overly stringent.
And you would suggest that it's overly stringent because he's kind of taken away the freedom of these people.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, you do have the right to do what I think you should have the right to do whatever you want to your body,
Hmm.
right? Um, but it's I can't attribute malice to it.
Okay.
I don't think it's malicious what they're doing. I think it's an effort to protect people
Okay.
from themselves in this case, which I don't think people really need protection from themselves.
Okay. If yeah, people don't need protection from themselves. You don't think that's the thing the state ought to be doing. Uh,
Yeah.
if we all watch TikToks about people with small noses being the cutest and sexiest, and then we all go out and get nose jobs to have smaller noses, that's not a thing that the state should be limiting.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
I'd agree with that.
okay. Oh, hi. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. If you liked what you saw, hit the like button, press the subscribe button. Uh, if you want to tell me how right I am, feel free to leave a comment. If you want to tell me how wrong I am, leave a comment too. That's good. Um, this is just kind of a hobby for me, so I appreciate you coming by, giving it a watch, and pressing the YouTube buttons. Thanks.